Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year. It's our first show of 2023. Tonight on the show, Vince McMahon back in the WWE. Is Sasha Banks going to AEW? We just watched SmackDown. We're watching Rampage. Let's get Johnny in here. Let's go. Yes, indeed. There he is. The big man. Johnny North. Happy New Year, Big Johnny.
How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year. Ahmad Q wishing us a Happy New Year. Thank you to everybody tuning in live here tonight. All the members joined ringsidereport.net if you haven't joined already. We're watching AEW Rampage as we speak. Angelo Contagonis joining in. Happy New Year, Angelo. Member of the team. You see his name in green. That's how you know he's a member. Well, we know Angelo. We know Angelo. Good to have you in here on a Friday night with us. My friend, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Vince McMahon back in the WWE. We're watching Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley wrestle Top Flight on Rampage right now. A lot going on in pro wrestling. Sorry.
They both kicked each other right there. They're doing the yes kicks, and then they kicked each other.
Yes.
Bryan and Moxley.
By accident.
I think this is the first time they've ever actually teamed together, no? It's usually other like tag kind of combinations. I've seen Mox team with everyone else but Bryan, I think, so far.
Yeah. And Bryan teaming with Claudio or Wheeler. And Moxley teaming with the same guys, too. It doesn't seem like these guys team together too much. You figure they'll win. It's a live match. It's a live episode of Rampage and then followed by the Battle of the Belts right afterwards, which is also live. So it's 2 straight hours of live AEW going down in Portland, Oregon tonight as we speak, which is something.
Well, it's the best way to do it because before they had Battle Belts like an hour on TNT, like 8 p.m. or something like that. And like barely anyone will watch that because it's just randomly a tape show at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. Kind of gets lost. Like at least with this, like some people are already tuned in. So, I mean, if they're interested, they'll keep watching the rest of the way through if it's a good show.
If it's a good show. Do you have any idea what what matches we have here tonight?
Well, they said on Dynamite. We got Kip and Orange, I think, for the All-Atlantic Championship. And I think we have Jade against Sky Blue, the TBS Championship. And I believe the main event, which I think is pretty good, it's going to be the Acclaimed against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, no holds barred.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something.
So that'll hook me. Yeah, that's a hook right there.
Uh-huh. Is Hook going to be on the show?
Well, they talked about Hook. I think Hook's going to be on Dynamite, right? Jungle Hook?
Jungle
Hook.
Hook.
Be a team.
Yeah, they're going to wrestle against Big Cass and somebody, right? Lee Moriarty on Dynamite.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And, yeah, Top Flight.
Win? No.
No,
almost.
Top Flight's not going to win. If Top Flight wins, I mean, what are we doing here? Top Flight can't beat Moxley and Bryan. That's ridiculous.
It's a big push if they win, but it probably won't happen.
It's too big. It's illogical. Shout out Doug Hepburn in our chat, member of the team. Shout out Doug, Lauren Cronish, Alex Tarras. Everybody joining us here tonight. Live on the Ringside Report Network. Vince McMahon, let's tackle that right off the bat. That's what everybody's here for. That's what everybody wants to talk about. Vinnie Mac. Vince McMahon is back in the WWE. He has regained some control. He is now back on the board of directors. And a few other people have been removed from the board of directors to make way for Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, who are former board members and employees of the WWE who have now come back with Vince McMahon. It's a return. Return of the Mac. Vinnie Mac is back. Well, that's a good theme for Vince. Return of the Mac. Come on. Once again. You know that song, John? Whoa. Come on. Ooh, yeah. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Yes, I did. Return of the Mac. Come on.
I've heard of that song, yeah.
Tremendous.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Vince is back. Return of the Mac. Mac Man. All right. I got excited about Return of the Mac. Such a good song. Vince is back. And apparently he's back to sell the company. If I can't have it, nobody can, damn it. Yeah, I could get the Vince impression back now. That's good. Everything's back to normal. Everything's right in the world. I mean, is anybody surprised by this? We were hearing the story that Vince was trying to come back. And, you figured he might be able to come back in some kind of business way because he basically still owns most of the company. Right?
Right.
And that's basically what he's doing. He's coming back to possibly sell the company. I'm a little surprised because I thought maybe he would just kind of leave well enough alone, but he's not done. He's not finished. I don't know what it means.
Wait till he comes back on TV. It should be great.
I don't think he's going to be back on TV. See, I think we don't see him back on TV. I think what this means is he's back to be, behind the scenes Vince McMahon doing the thing with the board of directors and trying to figure out the big picture for WWE from a business standpoint. Exactly what he's saying. The renegotiation of the broadcast rights that are coming up and possible sale of the company. And that really seems to be why Vince is back. I don't think he's back to take creative control again. I don't think he's back to do the hiring and firing and everyday business of pro wrestling. I don't think he's back to book the territory, I think he's back to do the business end of things. I think he's back to kind of not let Triple H and Stephanie have this company. And he's going to, get rid of it and cash in.
That's probably for the best if you think about it. I mean, we've had the Triple H run. I don't know about you. I don't think it's very good. I'd rather see somebody else run with it. So I think Vince coming back to sell the company to someone else. I mean, can it get any worse? I really don't think so. Did you watch Raw this week? I mean, if it gets worse, wow. But I don't
Raw
think it
is
can.
Clearly the B show. Right?
Might be even the C show, yeah.
Well, what's the B show then?
I put NXT over at this point almost.
I don't watch NXT. I don't know.
I'm just saying, I find more excitement in NXT sometimes than Raw.
Raw is the B show and it's too long. It's a bad show and it's 3 hours long. Raw is difficult. SmackDown is a lot easier to get through because things matter on SmackDown. That's where the champion is. there's only one guy that really matters in the WWE, and that's Roman Reigns, and he lives on SmackDown. So
Right.
why are we watching Raw?
Well, there's other people involved. There's other characters.
Who? Who? You know what I mean? Like, they're not there. The Bloodline shows up on Raw this week, but Roman Reigns doesn't come out. Kevin Owens comes out and, like, does a promo, and then they have a fight. With security and, other wrestlers, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander and people like that. Elias, I think, was there. Gallows was there because Carl Anderson's in Japan and AJ Styles is hurt.
Yeah.
So Gallows is just one of the jabronis. But it doesn't matter what the Bloodline's doing on Raw because at the end of this thing, Roman Reigns doesn't show up. But on SmackDown, they show up, they're causing trouble, they're smashing things ringside, and then Roman comes out to do a promo. And all of a sudden, it has some gravity. It has some weight to it. It means something. And then Kevin Owens shows up and challenges him to a Royal Rumble match, and Roman accepts. Well, he doesn't quite accept, but later on, we get the confirmation from WWE, right? The graphic.
Yeah, the graphic comes out. It's official. The match is going to happen. No stipulation this time, though.
We can break down the match, but I think the point is nothing happens on Raw. Things happen on SmackDown because that's the A show. It's on Fox, first of all. It's 2 hours, so it's a lot easier to sit through. And it's 2 hours of the better stuff. It seems to be that the effort of WWE is more concentrated on SmackDown. Mostly because all the effort of WWE seems to have been concentrated on Roman Reigns for the past 2 or 3 years, which means that any show that he's on seems to be the most important show. And he's on SmackDown, usually. Sometimes he's not even on SmackDown. And the show seems less worthy. It seems it's not as important when Roman's not there because they've based their entire product around this one guy.
Thanks.
He's the double champion. He's unbeatable. And he's the guy that everybody wants to be. Nobody can stop him. And it's just a better show, SmackDown. But it's a better show by this much. It's mostly because of Roman Reigns and because it's shorter. Right?
And
Raw wasn't great.
Why
huh?
They had someone else booking this. They give someone else the ball to run with. See what they can do. I'd rather see that at this point. If Vince can sell it off and get new booker pretty much, I have no problem with that. I think that might make it a better show.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It'll be a different show at least.
Who could be out there that would make it that much better? I mean, is wrestling in general being booked well anywhere?
I think it depends. It has its moments. I mean, even WWE has its moments too.
Yeah.
But I feel like, it's far and few between, unfortunately. That's the problem. It's in a whole calendar year, you only get a handful of moments where it's like, well, they could do more. I mean, every week we see something. They could give us so much more, but unfortunately, it's not easy for them to do it. So give it to somebody else to do it. Disney. That'd be interesting if Disney bought it.
I don't know. I don't know what would happen to pro wrestling or the WWE if Disney owned it. But at this point, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Vince? And, it's hard to speculate because, they could sell it to Disney. They could sell it to NBC, Universal. They could sell it to Fox. They could sell it to, ESPN type deal. Disney, who knows? Netflix.
Apparently, Saudi Arabia is high up there. Potential buyers.
What does that even mean?
That might be rough for Sami Zayn if that happens.
What does that mean? Saudi Arabia. Like the country of Saudi Arabia would just own WWE? That's weird.
Well, imagine the Crown Jewel show would just be Raw every week.
That'd be hard to support. That'd be hard to support and hard to watch. I think that would be the end of WWE, to be honest.
It'd be different. I don't want to be the end, but
it'd be over. Are you kidding me? Where's WWE this week? Oh, they're in Riyadh. Cool. Where are they next week? Riyadh. Ever coming back to America? No. How about the women's wrestling? What women's wrestling? Like, I don't know.
It wouldn't die. You just wouldn't see as much of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't see as much of a lot of things. Good God. There'd be no Mandy Rose. That's for sure. God. I hope that doesn't happen. But Vince is bananas, so you never know what he might do. Like, you never know.
Highest bidder, whoever gives the most money, and I would think Saudi Arabia would be high up there, no?
I don't know. I wish that Endeavor would buy it. The guys that own the UFC, that company should buy WWE and then merge UFC and WWE into one just freak show of a company.
I don't know if that's the business they want to get into, but...
What the hell? Have you seen what the UFC's up to these days? Seen Dana White on New Year's Eve? I mean, they're up to whatever. It's shambles.
Well, you guys had a controversial episode last night, so yeah, it was very interesting.
I'm not controversial. Angelo Contagona says, the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, which owns Live Golf, could put in a bid to buy the company. Right, that golf thing that people are all mad about, right?
Well, anything with Saudi Arabia, most people are mad about, so.
Yeah. Shout out to Ryan Katz and Matthew Henley. Matthew Henley wants to know who we think would be the best as head of creative. I mean, it's hard to tell, man. I don't know. Be interesting if you gave the ball to Paul Heyman for a little bit, He's never had... Like, Paul Heyman running WWE creative without anybody telling him what to do, without Vince over him or Stephanie over him, like just kind of head of everything would be interesting.
Yeah. That'd be huge.
Be interesting. I don't know if it would work, but like Heyman creatively has always been really good. And the problems that he got into in ECW were mostly on the business side. Right, it was money things, not paying guys, or whatever. Whatever happened there. Whatever happened there, So, I think he'd be interesting. He'd be a choice. Eric Bischoff created the NWO, brother. You can't discount old Bischoff. He always finds Jeff Jarrett always finds himself in good position somehow,
Well, he's still in a good position. That's the problem with Jarrett. Jarrett would be a good idea, but he's already kind of stuck somewhere.
Yeah, he'd take a...
Seems to be doing okay.
I don't know. It's a tough job. There's a lot of moving parts. But Heyman jumps out, I think, to most people as a guy that would be an interesting choice. I don't know who else, though. There's not many guys out there that you would think, they could run that type of show. It's a big show.
Well, it's tough too because I mean they'd be the head of creative, so that means they'd also oversee Raw, SmackDown, NXT in some capacity, all the little things, and then put together all the premium live events as well. Like like you say, it's a really big responsibility to put all that together, and then have everyone underneath you working as well. Like, won't be easy. Like, I think Heyman could do it because Heyman has the experience, and Bischoff, Bischoff has the experience, but we saw in SmackDown he only lasted what, a week or two, and then he was gone. So I don't know if like today, like he's up for it now anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Matthew Henley asking me what I would do as a booker. I mean, there's so many things that you would, fantasy book, right?
That's what he's asking you, pretty much.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Would you fantasy book?
It
What's
depends
your
what.
WrestleMania main event?
Well, for right now, I mean, at this stage in the game, it has to be Rock and Roman if you can get it done, right? Like, that's not fantasy booking. That's just kind of, well, Roman's the champ. He's been champ for so long. You kind of have to do the thing with The Rock. It's not like
I
my
agree.
dream match, right? But it's kind of what needs to be done at this stage in the game.
Right.
And that's what booking is, too. You just got to do what's the right match, the right move. You got to play the right pieces.
Well, I saw a lot of people today who were saying like, oh, it should be Sammy versus Roman at WrestleMania because that's the way it feels like the story is going. Like, I feel like we are going towards him going away from the bloodline, but not that match. I told you about that tag match at WrestleMania. I think that's planned for Sammy and Kevin. But I see where people see that Roman and Sammy. They could have a match at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. I could see that.
I just don't see Sammy as believable in beating Roman. He hasn't been booked that strong, whereas Roman has been booked as this ultimate undefeated guy. I could see Sammy getting a cheap win, but in a rematch and in a series of matches, he just hasn't, been booked in that way. And just kind of physically, Roman looks so imposing next to him. It's
Right.
hard to buy, but I could see it. I could see it. But just the whole tribal chief thing, somebody needs to stop him, and it would put Roman over even further to get a win over The Rock, right?
Well, it's the biggest match you could possibly do, right?
Yeah. I think Rock Roman, you have Roman beat The Rock, puts Roman over super strong. You cap off this amazing run with a victory over The Rock at WrestleMania, and then you maybe move into another program where Roman wins. Maybe then you move into a little thing with Sami Zayn and have Roman go over, and then possibly you go towards Cody, who I think is the consensus among a lot of wrestling fans as the next guy to be champion after Roman. Right?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, makes sense. I don't know about winning the Rumble. I feel like they shouldn't have put Cody on the poster for the Rumble. Say like, yeah, he's going to be in the Rumble. It kind of took away a bit of the surprise a bit.
I didn't know they did that. He shouldn't win the Rumble this year. I think it'd be premature. I would have
Well, he'll be a
Big
top
Dwayne win
favorite.
the Rumble. Again, if you can get Big Dwayne, if you can get The Rock, I would have him appear at the Rumble, number 30, bada bing, bada boom, throw a couple guys over the top rope, have a face-off with somebody cool, and win the match, setting up Roman and Rock at WrestleMania. Rock's only won it once, which we've talked about. So many guys have been multiple Rumble winners. The Rock, the great one, the people's champ, has only won it one time. So I think it would make sense to see him win again. If they can get him. If he's available, that's got to be the move. Rock. You bring Rock back strong, have him win the Rumble, set him up for Roman. Everybody knows The Rock. And then Roman beats him.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Hopefully that's what happens at the Rumble, but you know, Stranger things have happened. Like, I like the wording that they put there to kind of, in case things don't go right, they have it where it's like the winner gets a championship match in the main event of WrestleMania. Or a main event of WrestleMania, I think it's worded exactly. So they made it where it's like, well, if we have to change things around, we can change things around here. It doesn't have to be the actual championship match, right? Of WWE Championship or Universal Championship. It can be another championship match.
Ugh. I
Yeah,
mean,
I know, but
Austin Theory cashed in Money in the Bank for the U.S. title. You think you win the Rumble and you what, challenge for the Intercontinental Championship or something? That's pretty weak.
well, maybe even like the NXT Championship or something like that. I know it's weak, but they've done that just in case. I think maybe they have to go down that road.
Well, that's disappointing. I hope they don't go down that road. I really hope they can get The Rock. I mean, to me, this should have been booked over a year or two ahead of time. You book these dates with him. Rumble, a Raw or two, and Mania. You book 3 to 4 dates. How hard is that to get done? I understand he's busy, but come on. He's done it before. And, you know, this whole Roman Reigns thing has been going on for a long time. Tribal chief, head of the table, head of the family, all that stuff. People have been calling for the match with The Rock for how long now? And the WrestleMania last year was in Texas, and Austin was coming back, so they thought, oh, probably not this year, but next year in Hollywood, that's when you do The Rock. We've known about this for at least 2 years. WrestleMania, Los Angeles. As soon as they announced WrestleMania was in LA, you thought, "Whoa, that's a Rock match right there. Maybe that's Rock Roman." So for us to be at this stage in the game where we're coming up on the Rumble and they're still unsure about the dates, whether or not they have The Rock, like, come on, they either have him or they don't. I don't really buy the, oh, maybe. Come on. You got to book this guy in advance. He's either there, he's either in, or he's not. I think he's in. But they aren't hinting at it. Like, I hope he's in, but I am starting to wonder. I think, you know, for sure, you have to do it. It's the match. You got to get it done. But I'm starting to wonder, like, they're not dropping many hints about it. I guess they're focused on this Kevin Owens thing, with whatever, with Roman, and then they'll move on after, but they're being real sneaky.
Well, Sammy did mention that Roman's the head of the table. Like, they rarely say head of the table anymore, so they did throw that in there.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was the slight little thing where it's like, yeah, we got to keep that going because that's the main thing for Mania. So just throw that out there, kind of thing. Possibly, but I could see it where they're going somewhere else too. They do that on purpose though, too. I think where it's like they know if things don't work out, they have something else. They got a bunch of backup plans. So if it's not going to be Rock, you know, maybe they'll get Cody, maybe they'll use Seth, maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
They have backups.
Yeah. But I would assume that they would get The Rock. I'm watching AEW Rampage. I saw Danielson and Moxley beat Top Flight in the opener. Then, did Jade Cargill wrestle yet? No, that's later. Britt Baker wrestled, right? Britt and Hayter beat somebody.
Right. The Renegade twins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just saw Preston Vance beat Pero Peligroso, and he took his mask off and beat him up. It was a squash. That's what's happened so far on Rampage, right? Have I missed anything? A couple promos. I saw Hangman talking. I saw the House of Black talking. I don't know what they said.
Now Darby Allin's talking here.
Yeah. Darby, the new TNT champion. Little championship celebration. Who's this coming to talk to him? Mike Bennett? What's he doing here?
That's right.
Why is he there?
He's challenging to a match.
That's weird.
Gonna get
I didn't know he
We're gonna have a
wrestled in
match
AEW.
tonight. Yeah, well, I guess they had him on the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, but I guess AEW as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing because, Battle of the Belts. Well, add another title match. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Yeah, I expect The Rock to show up at the Rumble, and I'll be a little disappointed if he doesn't. You know?
Oh, I agree. Completely, yeah.
Seems like the right move. I know the only thing that'll make it better for you, John, is if Randy Orton steps in and Randy wins. Randy and Roman,
That'd be
honestly, at Mania would be interesting. Because there is
Yeah.
a story there. If Randy's healthy, him coming in, winning the Rumble, although it'd be excessive. How many?
That'd be 3.
Yeah, it'd be a lot, but maybe. It is Randy. Like, Randy Roman wouldn't be bad at this stage in the game. There seems to be heat there, too.
That was supposed to be the match at SummerSlam, but Randy was hurt. So they had to bring back Brock.
And isn't the bloodline the reason why Randy is injured in the story?
Yeah, it was weird. Like, they took out Riddle, but they said, oh, Randy hurt his back. Even though Riddle took the beating in the match, but whatever. Like,
But they're blaming the Usos type of thing?
right.
Yeah. I don't know. There was talk that Randy was done, and then his dad was saying he wasn't done, and, we'll see. But he'd be interesting as a backup plan, if possible. Not much happening on Raw this week. We had the Bloodline with a promo. What?
Said Raw was rough. I don't think there was a match I enjoyed until the main event.
Austin Theory beating Seth Rollins in the main event. Theory over Rollins to retain the U.S. title with a low blow behind the ref's back after a ref bump, actually. You like that match?
Easily the best match I've seen so far this year.
Well, it's not saying much.
It's not saying much, but on that show, without question, it was the best thing. Like, everything else was just... I almost fell asleep a couple times during watching Raw. It was just not that good. But that match was like, okay, finally, we're back to some good wrestling.
I like Darby and Joe better.
Well, we're talking about Raw right now. We're not talking about Dynamite. Like,
Well, you said it was the best match you saw all year, John.
Like, that was a good match, but I feel like their first match was better, though. So that was the tough part about that.
All right. What's the matter? You didn't like Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss?
Oh, here we go. All right. So, I don't know if you saw... You're laughing already.
It's so bad.
Get ready for my rants.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
But before I even watched this match, before I even watched Raw, the first thing I saw was on Twitter that apparently they just copied the fight scenes from Scary Movie. Like, blow for blow, like, little acts they did. There's like 2 or 3 parts in the match where they take it exactly from Scary Movie, apparently. I don't know if you caught that or not.
No.
Yeah, well, if you can really tell in the beginning, like, the beginning was kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I was like, what are they doing? Are they play wrestling? I thought the match was odd.
Right. Now, I had saw this before I watched the match, so I go into this realizing, okay, this is going to be bad. And I can only imagine you watching that match, not realizing what's going on, because it's like, this is very weird. Like, what's going on here? It doesn't make a lot of sense what's going on. Because I guess they were trying to play off the whole, like, someone's possessed kind of fight against someone who wasn't, and that was what they were doing. And it doesn't really translate very well because that's a movie, right? It's not an actual fight. So it just came off kind of goofy looking. And then other moments in the match where, I don't know about you, but, like, this was like Bianca's hometown, right? Like,
Yeah.
The crowd was really terrible for this. Like they weren't like they were cheering for Bianca, but they didn't give Alexa like any heat whatsoever. They kind of cheered for her for a bit. They were cheering for her after she like DDT'd her on the steps, and they said one more time, one more time. I'm like, what? Like that's
Yeah.
the hometown babyface. Like
Yeah.
what's going on here? Like
They just popped for the move.
yeah, well, the crowd kind of crapped on the match almost by doing that. They didn't give it any heat whatsoever. This is supposed to be like a grudge match kind of thing. So that took away from a lot of what they were trying to do. And I don't know, like Alexa to me, like she wasn't trying to get heat. Like maybe she was trying a little bit, but I think it felt like she gave up or wasn't really trying hard. So that also took away from the match. Because her entrance too, like she came out, she was like waving and smiling. Like I know she's trying to be like crazy, whatever, but that was kind of off-putting to people where it's like people still kind of like her and it's like you're not giving them a reason to hate you.
Yep. It was terrible. And you didn't even mention the two guys in the front row with the creepy Bray Wyatt masks standing there looking at her and her like being all possessed by them, and then the Bray Wyatt stuff graphics showing up on the big screen and her going all bananas. I mean, you didn't even mention the worst part of it, which was all the hocus pocus nonsense. I mean, the match was terrible, obviously, and it was hindered by that nonsense. What?
Well, because that was part of the finish, right? Was that because then the finish too to it. Now, first off, the first guy in the mask, I don't know if you noticed, the security was trying to pull the guy away at first.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, no, I'm part of the show. And I guess he got buzzed in, like, yeah, I'm going to go away. So that was, to me, I just kind of laughed. It was like, okay, like, they kind of threw this off a little bit, but they're trying to sell it. And you could tell there was another guy on the side. And I think there was also a sign, too, as well, like he's coming or something. There was a bunch of plans, I think, throughout, whatever. And, like, the fact that there was just way too much of her stalling, waiting, just looking, staring. And then it wasn't even, oh, she gets surprised and she loses. She freaks out, attacks the ref. There's never a bell rung whatsoever. They just say, well, she's been disqualified, but there's no announcement, no nothing. Just the match is over, whatever. There's fighting around the ringside. And I don't know about you. To me, that looked like fake blood.
Yeah.
When Bianca got like DDT'd. Like,
yeah, totally. From her mouth?
She clearly. Yeah. Well, you could say, oh, she hit her head on the step. Like, she clearly put her hand down first.
Yeah.
Like, not once, but twice. Like, there's no way. Like, unless, like, she cut herself on her nails or something. I don't know, on her face, but no way she hit the steps.
Alexa Bliss.
DDT.
Come on. Alexa Bliss beating down Bianca Belair makes no sense whatsoever. Because it looks so... It looks so fake. Because she's so tiny, and Bianca's so strong and so much bigger than her, and nothing Alexa does is convincing. She's doing play fighting from a goddamn comedy movie. Scary Movie, if I remember correctly, John, wasn't even an actual horror movie. It was like a joke horror movie, right?
Yeah, parody movie, yeah.
So they are doing fight scenes from a comedy movie from the early 2000s. I bet you that was Alexa's idea.
Well, they probably liked it when they were kids, right? And they watch, like some people like to watch Bret Hart stuff, take Bret Hart spots.
Yeah.
Now other wrestlers take stuff from their favorite movies and just take those spots instead. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying this is what's happening.
Horrible. It was just horrible. Everything about it was bad and sad. The fact that Bianca Belair is now wrapped up in this nonsense. And the fact that they can't find anything better for Alexa Bliss. This is what she's doing? And I guess she's part of the whole Bray Wyatt thing that's going to be expanding. There's something there. Right. We didn't see Bray Wyatt on SmackDown tonight, thankfully. No,
they talked about it though.
They talked about him, but we didn't see him. No Uncle Howdy, nothing, which was good. but I guess Alexa's being possessed by Bray Wyatt or something on Raw. And the matches are bad. It's just bad all around. And then we had Solo Sikoa wrestling Elias in a Music City street fight. So they had musical instruments. Elias actually took a pretty cool finish there. The rock bottom off the apron from Solo onto a piano. Haven't seen that one before. Smashed a piano up pretty good. That was good. Nice little spot at the end. The match was ridiculous. Some country music singer guy, they were in Nashville. So there was like some out-of-shape country music guy who jumped in and hit Solo with a guitar in the back at some point. I think we're supposed to know who this guy is. I don't know why he was involved in this match. I think he's doing a song. Hardy. He's doing a song for the Rumble, but I don't know what. Like, he just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and I was like, what? Who's this guy?
Well, they mentioned, I think his name was Hardy, I think. That's
Matt Hardy?
No, just Hardy. That's it.
Jeff Hardy.
Like, first name is Hardy, I guess last name is Hardy. He's just a Hardy. That's it.
Hardy.
And Hardy, yeah. So he's doing the theme song for the Rumble.
Good for him.
So that's why, I guess, for whatever reason, he showed up there
in a match. It was weird.
It was a street fight, so you can just do whatever you want in those kind of matches. They just had a spot for him, so he got involved. Like, I don't know about you, but this is where I kind of was starting to fall asleep. This match just dragged a lot. Like, a lot of nothing happened for like a long periods of time, and it's like, are you guys gonna do anything? And like, I feel bad because like I saw Elias's elbow was like bleeding, like split wide open. Like, it was really bad, and I think Sikoa as well. Like, I think his face got a little bit cut as well. Like, it looked like they were really hurting each other, but there was no heat whatsoever. Like, except for like a couple of cool spots, whatever. I guess with the keyboard and the piano, but everything else just felt like long brawling, nothing happening. And just like it went on for like 20 minutes, it felt.
Yeah, it wasn't great. They had a couple fun spots with the weapons, but, you know, you say Elias versus, and I tune out. You know, as soon as you say Elias is wrestling, I'm just like, he's of no consequence. He doesn't matter. Why am I watching him? And then you have Dexter Lumis wrestling Chad Gable. Like, again, why am I watching this? Pointless. Sami Zayn and the Usos beat Kevin Owens and the Street Profits. That was fine. That wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible, but I mean, was it anything great? I mean, considering the people involved in that match, it's kind of disappointing where it's just a okay match at best. I mean, that's main event talent really involved in that, and it wasn't anything special. And the finish was kind of surprising. Like, you're trying to build up Kevin to face Roman at the Rumble, yet the Bloodline won that match. Like, I don't know if they really needed that win.
Montez took the fall. No, they needed to win because they can't keep losing. The Bloodline has to stay strong because they're an extension of Roman Reigns.
I guess, but Solo won. I mean, could split it at least. Like,
they all had to win for the story to go on tonight. Because Roman, you know,
they rewrote history too. By the way, they said, "Oh, that's Roman's first loss in like 3 years." So I guess that Xavier DQ thing, I guess that was a no contest now.
I mean, it's pro wrestling. They ignore a lot of things. A lot of things.
Selective memory.
Yeah. Io Sky and Dakota Kai beat Mia Yim and Becky Lynch. It was a 2-on-1 match for a while because Becky had no partner. And then Mia Yim came in, but it didn't matter. They still lost. Mia Yim took the fall. Bayley was distracting Becky outside the ring, while Damage Control took control to win the match. It was a match of no consequence. Dakota Kai and Io Sky do not matter as tag team champions. Bayley and Becky Lynch are losing relevance by the day. I don't know what's happening with them, but they've just been doing nothing for a while. Bianca's at the top of the card there, and they're just hanging out. There's nothing going on. There's no reason. There's no movement in the story. Mia Yim came out to help Becky. They've never been together before. And immediately they failed. It's pointless. Becky's lost a lot of momentum.
I don't feel like she has, really. It's just, what else is she going to do at this point? I mean, Damage Control are the top heels, if you think about it, on Raw. And she can't beat them all the time. They have to get some wins. So, I mean, as long as they cheat, I really don't see a problem with that. Just to show that Becky isn't invincible. Like, I got no problem with that.
But what's it leading towards for Becky?
I'm guessing, like, it's some sort of Rumble thing. Like, they'll face off in the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Becky
I don't think it's anything.
Eliminate.
I think it's just filling time on Raw until the Rumble, until they start those other plans. Because what are Bayley and Becky really doing here?
Yeah, they're just around. That's about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else for them at this point.
Makes you wonder.
I don't know.
Makes you wonder.
I think Becky, because now it's weird what's going on with the championships for the women. So, but to me, Becky is a top contender to win the Rumble now.
To face who? Charlotte?
I would think to face Charlotte. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. Dominic Mysterio cut a promo about his time in prison after he was arrested outside of his family's home during Christmas. People seem to like that.
People like this?
I don't know.
I don't understand how people like this. Like,
people
it's just,
like a lot of things.
Just really stupid. Like, he clearly didn't serve any time or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's a joke.
None of it's believable. None of it's great. And what, he's going to come back with his new attitude? Like, which is going to be even more lame because it's completely ridiculous, because not believable whatsoever. And I don't know how people get into this kind of stuff. This is bad.
But wasn't it better and shorter than one of those Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio in-ring promos that we've been seeing a lot of over the past few months? Also, they weren't on the show at all.
That's it. It was just because it was only Dominic there. But just add them in there. It'll be longer.
Where were they? All of them missing in action. They're usually on Raw every week. Are we giving up on that? Are we moving in new directions? My God, I hope so.
Well,
it's bad.
Are they moving in a new direction with this? Because, Dominic announced that he got engaged to his girlfriend, right?
Right.
Who's not Rhea Ripley, believe it or not. So are we just moving on from everything?
I don't know. That was public, right? He announced he got engaged to his girlfriend, and there were pictures everywhere and wrestling news sites. Once that's out there, it's kind of hard to believe the Rhea Ripley gimmick anymore. Even though we know it's not real, WWE kind of, you're trying to kayfabe a little bit, right?
Well, he only recently said that that's girlfriend, whatever,
Yeah.
And then for that to happen, it's like, okay, well, this is clearly just a story, and that's all it is, and none of it's real, and it makes it more phony, more so than it already is. So it really takes away a lot of it, but I don't expect much now from Dominic Mysterio. I know people say there's a lot of attention with him, and maybe there is, but I'm not seeing the improvement anyways. I'm just seeing him, they put him in different things, but I don't see him really excelling in these different angles they put him in. I'll be happy when they move on from this.
Doesn't seem like they are at any point. We'll move on though to SmackDown and what we saw tonight. Roman Reigns with an in-ring promo. Wanted to hear from Sami Zayn. Sami talking about how they're running all the shows and they won their matches on Raw. And then Roman talked about how they lost on SmackDown last week, but he didn't lose. Sami lost. Sami was the one that got pinned, not him. And then Roman gets mad at Sami and says Sami promised him a win, but then he failed. And says, what, do you think you can be the tribal chief? You think that you can do things better than me? You want to be the leader of the bloodline? And he really gets in Sami's face and he gets upset. And then Kevin Owens comes out and tells Roman he needs to calm down. And you're not really mad at Sami, Roman. You're mad at me. And we should wrestle at the Royal Rumble for your belts. And Roman doesn't say much. And then Kevin Owens leaves. It was a solid opening to SmackDown. Huh. All right. I was getting a feed from AEW, but I think my AEW feed died out. Just to let you know, John, something happened at the control center. That's why we're not seeing the Rampage right now. We might have to be on our own to figure that out. Yeah. But Roman Reigns was not done with Sami Zayn. I thought the promo later on in the show was good because Roman was all mad at Sami in the opening. And then later on, Sami tries to get into Roman's locker room, but Heyman tells him, maybe it's not the time right now. And then the Usos and Solo, they walk right into the locker room, and Sami kind of has to stay outside. But later on, Sami is welcomed back into Roman's locker room. Roman asks for Sami. And Sami comes in and he's groveling to Roman, says, I acknowledge you as the tribal chief. I'm sorry if I've offended you. I don't think I can do anything as well as you can. You're the head of the table. And then Roman says, well, Sami, I don't accept your apology because I actually should be apologizing to you. I need to control my anger. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that in the ring. And then Sami says, oh, well, you got a lot of stress. You got a lot on your plate and everything. And Roman says, Owens was right. I'm mad at Kevin Owens, not at you, Sami Zayn. And then Heyman tells Sami that Sami will be facing Kevin Owens on SmackDown next week. I thought that was solid stuff from everybody. Well done by Sami and Roman, and even Heyman reacting in the background. But the way Roman kind of turns it around, he does that very well. Where you think he's going one way, and then he just kind of swerves it the other way. You think he's mad at Sami, and then all of a sudden, he's actually kind of a nice guy. Like, it's kind of decent of Roman. He realized that he shouldn't have been yelling at Sami, and then he apologized for it. Very sorry. It's kind of nice. You don't see that in pro wrestling very much. Usually guys hit each other in the face and they don't apologize for it. Right? Roman Reigns, what a gentleman. Apologizing to Sami and then allowing Sami to sit in his personal dressing room to watch the Usos beat the Banger Brothers, the Banger Bros, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in the main event of SmackDown. In a pretty solid match. I like the main event tonight.
Yeah, no, I thought the main event was pretty good. I mean, solid main event. Not long main event, too, I think, which helped a lot. And I don't know about you, I really liked that little segment they had where you saw Sami was watching TV and he was like throwing his popcorn around and like Roman was getting pissed. And you thought, oh, Roman's pissed because he's having popcorn in his room. But then you see the segment afterwards, Roman's got popcorn as well. So he wasn't pissed that, he's throwing popcorn around. He's mad because he didn't have his own popcorn. So it's little things like that, like it just make the show more enjoyable. You see more of the character progression. Like these guys can get mad at each other, but that doesn't mean they hate each other. They just have friction here and there, but they can work through their problems, and it makes them more human. It's more enjoyable and just good action too in the ring. Can't say it was like the greatest tag match, but it was solid. I think it helps having Sheamus and McIntyre like two top talent, where it's like you could believe they could possibly win, and when the false finishes make more sense and more believable because of that.
It was solid. It was well done. Usos are a great tag
SmackDown was
team.
good.
Yeah.
SmackDown was a very good show tonight.
Yeah. The promos from Roman and Sammy and the Usos match in the main event, like the Bloodline did a lot on this show tonight, and they did well. They all performed, and they're the main kind of chunk of the WWE. And then we had some other stuff that was fine. Santos Escobar over Kofi Kingston. Solid match. Not bad. Are you with me, John?
Not bad, but just I was just kind of muting you because I was trying to put Rampage back on.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that too.
That's not working for me either, actually.
Oh.
But no, I thought it was an okay match, Kofi and Santos. I mean, again, nothing out of the ordinary, but nothing terrible too. Just a solid match, I thought. The finish, I just thought they overdid it with the whole interference stuff, but I guess they felt they had to protect Kofi. I don't think you have to protect Kofi that much, but I guess they felt they had to.
Yeah, the match was all right. It wasn't fantastic, but, they do that distraction finish all the time. I don't even think that they do it anymore to protect people. I think they just do it because they have no other idea for a finish. You know what I mean? They're not trying that hard.
Well, they only do it because they feel like, they don't want the other guy taking that big of a loss. If they didn't think Kofi had to take that big of a loss, like, they wouldn't use it. Like, they'd just be like, oh, well, Kofi can lose. It's fine. Like, he's the NXT tag champ. He's not really doing SmackDown that much anymore. But they felt Kofi being a former WWE champion, they kind of put that over a lot. Him being a decent star in the Rumble, him taking a loss is kind of a big deal.
Big win, I guess, for Santos Escobar. How about Scarlett wrestling tonight with Karrion Kross over Madcap Moss and Emma? Scarlett actually wrestled quite a bit. She had some wardrobe issues, but other than that, it wasn't terrible.
Well, I noticed the screen went black, so yeah.
Did your screen go black? Mine didn't. I saw something.
Okay. Yeah, my screen went black.
She had like a,
that's kind of...
like her outfit got pulled down, and she had like a, I think it's called a pasty on her nipple, like a sticker type of thing. So that even if her outfit does get pulled down, you don't see her nipple, but like you saw the pasty, like there was a lot coming out that wasn't supposed to come out. A bit of a, But she doesn't wrestle too much, so I don't know if her gear is that worn in, like that practiced. I don't know how often she has to wrestle and test out that gear.
Right.
Didn't seem wrestle ready when she was wearing it. Seemed a little shaky. She might want to get different gear next time. But her wrestling was better than I expected because I'd never seen her wrestle before. I'd just seen her kind of stand there with Karrion Kross, so I figured, she doesn't really get physical in the match. Maybe she can't wrestle, but she took a few bumps. She didn't do too bad. She didn't look that bad out there. I've seen people look far worse. Seems like maybe she can wrestle.
Well, it seems like she has her spots, right, that she can do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, you want to do a 20-minute match, but she could probably do like 5 minutes. So just keep it short and easy. Like, mixed tag, that makes a lot of sense. You just go in and out like that. Just, I feel like, they ignore the rules of mixed tag where it's like, it's the guys The guys, the women, and the women. Like it's not supposed to be like he can pull the woman's leg and she can pull the guy's leg. Like it's technically breaking the rules there, but seem to let a lot of things slide every now and then.
Well, I thought it was really weird when Karrion Kross is standing there looming over Emma.
Right.
Right? He's standing there. He's like threatening her. He's like standing. She's there down. Madcap is like down. Madcap gets on the apron.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of charging at this man who's physically threatening your girlfriend, he tags in so that he can then kind of charge at him, hit a couple of punches before his fire gets cut off immediately and they go to the finish. They made Madcap look really bad there. Madcap looked terrible. I mean, first of all, you don't tag in. You just run in and attack. You got to have fire. You got to think about it like, what would you do if your girlfriend was being physically threatened by Karrion Kross? Would you wait till she got close to you so you could tag in? You don't have to tag in. Kross is already in the match. He's there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Emma's not legal anyways against Karrion Kross.
Well,
it was just
Karrion
bad.
Kross is in the wrong because he's not legal.
He's not legal. Okay, but still.
Right, no, you're 100% right.
He waited to tag in, like you jump in.
Yeah.
Didn't make sense.
Exactly. I agree with you, but again, in mixed tags, I feel like the rules kind of get skewed a lot. Like they just kind of do what they want. So, and you can see why they don't do mixed tags a lot. So, in terms of rules, it's kind of fancy free almost. Plus, I don't know if you noticed this, like the refs, they're really loud for whatever reason next to the mics. You can hear them. Like I heard them 2 weeks in a row telling the guys like to stay down. Like when they're in a hold, like it's not time for them to get up. I don't know if you're catching that, but I'm catching that like every week now.
I'm not catching too much of it.
Okay.
I haven't caught too much of that.
Good. It's good to have kids that keep you distracted, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm not listening to it as closely as you are. I'm watching, but I'm not listening too close to what they're saying. And Karrion Kross is still feuding with Rey Mysterio. He put a Rey Mysterio mask on Madcap after the match. When is that match going to happen, Kross and Rey? Is that a SmackDown match? Do they push that to the Rumble?
I hope SmackDown. To me, that's not a Rumble match, but stranger things have happened. I mean, what else besides, Kevin and Roman, LA and Bray, the 2 Rumble matches? Like, really, that's, 3.5 hours right there at least. So.
Yeah, I think maybe they do it on SmackDown, but who knows? They haven't done it yet. They seem to be teasing it. They're building towards it. Charlotte cut a promo in the ring talking about her return last week after 8 months and how she beat Ronda for the belt. And then Sonya Deville came out and she wanted a match, and Charlotte beat her with the figure 8. It happened. It was all right. Wasn't great.
Well, I think it was a bad match. Well, I finally got it working now.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. But I didn't think it was that great of a match. Like, it just felt like it was poorly put together. It's one of those kind of lazy Charlotte matches where it's like, I'm just going to hit my stuff and you'll get your moves here and there and the match is over. There wasn't really a lot of rhyme and reason to it. It's just, do my stuff, you do your stuff, spear, figure 8, it's over. Like, not a great match.
Yeah. I just discovered that AEW's on TV.
Well, yeah, it's on one of the TSNs, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Now I'm back. Oh, my God.
It's
Jeff Jarrett. Oh, It's Daddy Ass. Oh, Daddy Ass just got hit with the stroke, brother. Oh, they're starting off hot with the Acclaimed. What's the main event then? Orange Cassidy? What are they doing?
Probably.
Oh, I missed this Acclaim match. This was the match I wanted to see. Oh, here comes Satnam. Satnam's got the Acclaim double choke slam. I want to see more from Satnam. That guy's gigantic. So SmackDown was, fine. Oh, my God. Satnam just chokeslammed the shit out of that referee.
He passed the shirt to Sanjay, I think.
What do you mean? He's giving the referee shirt to Sanjay? Can he do that?
I've seen it happen before.
Can we talk about Sheamus and Drew McIntyre calling themselves the Banger Bros? And Michael Cole saying that they're the Banger Bros? And then they didn't call them that later on in the show because I think they figured out that Bang Bros is the name of a porn company. So they're like, maybe not Banger Bros. A little close. The hell? This can't count. Sanjay's counting like he's the referee. Just because you wear the shirt, I don't think that makes you the referee. I thought that was funny, though, that they were calling themselves the Banger Bros. What the hell was that? How did they...
Well, they just didn't realize it, you know? They just didn't realize the fact that it existed. Like, remember the submission sorority, I think it was, with Paige, Becky, and Charlotte.
I think they did realize it existed, and that was the joke. And then somebody else in charge was like, whoa, what's the joke here? No, we can't do that.
The Acclaim win.
Yeah, everybody loves the Acclaimed. Of course they win. Scissor me, John.
I don't have that shirt. Sorry. Okay. I'll get that shirt one day. Maybe
my dog Sami Zayn shirt, but you don't have the Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirt.
Yeah, I'll support Sammy's charities, not scissoring.
How dare you? I think Sami Zayn's charity is for scissoring. It'd be ridiculous
to wear that shirt.
Scissoring for Syria? Isn't that what Sammy's charity is?
I don't believe so. But you're the one who's like, who would ever wear a shirt like that? You're the one who criticized that.
Oh, I'm not wearing the shirt. I just want you to wear it. Yeah. Second time AEW's live on a Friday night on TSN. Very rare that it's actually on TV. But it is.
Well, that's good.
Which is
more
nice.
People in Canada will watch it then, finally.
Maybe. I mean, they got enough channels, TSN. They got like 5 of them. You figure they have room somewhere for some wrestling. 11 o'clock on a Friday night. What else is going on? I don't think they had Rampage, but they do have Battle of the Belts, right? That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I think Rampage was just the TSN Direct, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricochet beat Top Dollar. Hit Row turned heel on Ricochet, attacked him after the match, and then Braun Strowman made the save for Ricochet. Top Dollar's terrible. He's just bad.
Oh, I like Hit Row as heels. I think that's actually better for them. I mean, I don't think people ever really liked them that much. So I think as heels, like, you could probably get over more.
Yeah, but they're garbage overall. You know? Like, I don't think they're very good at anything. Their wrestling's pretty bad.
The SmackDown tag division isn't exactly strong, so they actually have an opportunity there. I mean, who do they have to compete with?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Exactly. Not a lot of good ones.
Braun Strowman versus Gunther next week for the Intercontinental title on SmackDown. That should be fun. And Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Something's going to happen there. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE title, official for the Royal Rumble. And Money in the Bank's going to be going to London, England, on July the 1st. So that'll be fun.
Canada Day.
Yeah, Canada Day. July 1st, they're going to be in London, so we get to watch an afternoon Money in the Bank and then celebrate our nation, Canada.
Should be a nice hot day.
Yeah, it should be cool. Good for London. A lot of wrestling fans out there. A lot of guys are going to be hyped. Of course, my man Andy out in England, I'm sure, is going to be excited about this one. Money in the Bank, always a fun event. London, England. WWE, they did well with that show out in Wales. And now they're going to do a pay-per-view in London, England. I mean, that's a big deal. Good for them.
Saw Wally tweet about it, so maybe Wally's interested in going.
Yeah, right?
It'd be pretty big. Yeah. Well, you've been to Money in the Bank. It's a pretty big event, so I would say it's one of the must-sees if you think about it. I love the big events to see.
I really like Money in the Bank. I've been to 2 Money in the Banks. I went to one summer, and then the next summer I was like, Money in the Bank? It was in Philly one year and then Boston the next, so close enough that I made the trip. It's a fun pay-per-view. It's a really fun pay-per-view. So good for London. I'm happy for the fans out there. They deserve it. They're dedicated fans like my man Tony Mack, who I saw before. What's up, Tony? It's a morning for him. Member of the team. Joined out ringsidereport.net if you haven't already. Shout out Tony Mack. Shout out to Harold Schneider, who says he would stop watching WWE if Saudi money took over. If Vince sold to the Saudis. Harold Schneider been a member for 19 months. Thank you, Harold. Thank you, Tony, staying up late. Hope Tony gets to go to Money in the Bank with his son. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to be going to Elimination Chamber with my son, so that'll be fun too. Next month. It's coming up. Elimination Chamber in our hometown.
SmackDown and Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, nice. Brother. I'm going to both. I got tickets for both. That'll be fun. AEW Battle of the Belts is going on right now. AEW Dynamite happened this week. Darby Allin got the win over Samoa Joe in the main event after a couple coffin drops to become the new TNT champion. Darby Allin in his hometown of Seattle, emotional before and after the match. Sting came out to congratulate him and hug him. What a moment for Darby Allin. I'm happy about this. I think Darby has been one of the most consistent stars for AEW, homegrown AEW stars. This is a guy that the world did not know about before AEW. And because of AEW, Darby Allin is a wrestling star. And he's been great. And he was a great TNT champion. And he's been kind of doing this thing with Sting. But it's run its course. And I'm glad that he's back as TNT champion. Because I think not only does it enhance Darby, but it enhances the TNT title. I think we've had some kind of mediocre TNT title runs recently. And Darby Allin is a guy who, when he defends that belt on TV, is going to entertain. Every TNT title defense that Darby Allin has is going to be good. And it's going to be must-watch. And that's what you want in a TV champion. He's perfect for that belt. So I'm very happy to see him win it back and beat Samoa Joe in this fantastic match that we saw in the main event. Great stuff. You know me, John, I'm a big Darby Allin fan. I think he's fantastic. This is a long time coming.
I agree. Darby's one of the best AEW talents going today. No question. And, it's good to see him win the TNT Championship again. I just think it's a little disappointing where I think Joe is just getting going with the championship. And I thought this reign was really great for him. Like, he just came off a huge title defense the week prior. And then to lose it right away that quick, I think it was a little too soon. It's fine with Darby winning the championship. Just, I would have extended Joe's reign a little bit longer, but I get it, the timing and everything. It made sense, but I was really enjoying Joe's reign. I wish it was longer.
Yeah, it was a short run with the TNT title. I'll give you that. But because they were in Seattle, it was just such a good moment for Darby. It was a career moment. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. I thought it was fine. The Joe short title reign, I thought, whatever. Joe's still the Ring of Honor TV champion. Tony Mack says...
but that's not really...
Sorry, go ahead.
Important.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's not really as important.
But it's still a belt for him to defend on TV and keep him relevant. Tony Mack says him and his son Thomas will be going to Money in the Bank. It's
nice.
4:20 a.m. his time out in London. Thanks for staying up with us, Tony. He's going to go to Money in the Bank at a reasonable hour for him in London on July 1st of this year. So very cool. Happy for you, Tony. Happy for you and your son. It's going to be a great show. Like I said, I've been to a couple Money in the Banks, and they are lots of fun. People flying off ladders. I mean, who doesn't want to see that, right? Got Jade Cargill and Sky Blue wrestling right now on this AEW Live Battle of the Belts from Portland. AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts back-to-back, a 2-hour AEW show that we are currently watching that's nearly over, right? About a half hour left in this AEW 2-hour live extravaganza, which has been, as a world champion would say, mid.
Well, I missed the Darby Allin Mike Bennett match, so I can't really comment on that. I missed a lot of the acclaimed Jarrett and the Lethal match, and from what I saw, it looked like that was actually pretty good. So
yeah,
that takes away a lot from this, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true.
No offense,
we did miss those things.
Sorry,
yeah, you're right. They're right. We missed the main event of Rampage and then the opener of this Battle of the Belts because we had some connection issues. That's true. But everything else I saw was kind of mid, right? Even the Bryan and Moxley match against Top Flight, it was okay, but whatever. It's a 2-hour special, but it doesn't feel special. You know what I'm saying? AEW doesn't do these specials well.
No offense to Sky Blue, but I mean, she's not a top contender. She shouldn't be wrestling for the champion. I feel like we've done this already before too, and it's like, who has Sky Blue beat? I mean, just because you're on television, you have these matches every so often. I don't see how this makes her a top contender. Now someone else is coming out. Is it Red Velvet, apparently?
Yeah. For a second there, I was like, well, wait a second. Wait a second, pal.
No, it's not Mercedes.
Not yet. But I think we're going to see Sasha Banks in AEW real soon, probably next week in LA.
Really? Wow.
Why not? She's back in wrestling. She's not going to wrestle New Japan that much.
Right.
I think she's going to go to AEW.
But she's not in the match, though.
No. But as if you don't know, Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Moné, right? Is that the name?
Monet? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Money.
Money?
Something like that.
Mercedes Money?
It could be that, actually, yeah.
She appeared at the New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom event and to face off against Kairi Sane. And she looks to be wrestling for New Japan, but I don't know how full-time that's going to be. And, of course, a lot of people, especially American talent that wrestles for New Japan, sometimes also wrestles for AEW. So I would expect to see Sasha Banks wrestle in AEW. I'd expect to see her sign a contract with AEW and become a part of that division. Why not? You don't?
Well, we've been pushing this whole tag match, right? Who's going to be Soraya's tag partner? And they announced that it's going to be Toni Storm. It's not going to be Mercedes. So, maybe she's going to show up, but she's not going to wrestle Wednesday night in Dynamite, at least. They've at least, I think, confirmed that. People were expecting that. Don't expect that to happen, her to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she'll show up. Maybe she'll interfere. Maybe she'll attack somebody or whatever. But an actual match is more than likely not happening.
I don't think it should on her first night.
I agree.
So I think you could still bring her in. Britt Baker referred to herself as the boss on Dynamite this week.
Right. Right. So I definitely believe that she could show up, and more than likely, I mean, if you're betting on it, I think she probably will show up. But that's it, interference. And like, who's to say she's going to be like a baby face? Like, maybe she'll get a big reaction when she comes out, but who's to say she's going to align herself with Saraya? Like, maybe she'd actually attack Saraya instead.
Possibly. I don't know where she would wind up as far as babyface or heel in AEW, but I really think she's showing up. I really do. I think she'll be there on Wednesday night.
Too.
What's that?
That's like, if you think about it, like, they don't usually do this, but if that's the case, the women's match should be the opening match, because that will get people talking the most if you start with that, and then that happens, and then people keep talking about it throughout the show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if she needs to be involved in the Saraya, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter match. I mean, Jade Cargill could come out, brag about how she beat Sky Blue, how she beat everybody, how nobody could beat her, and then here comes Mercedes Sasha Banks to be like, well, you haven't beat me. And then you set that up. You build that for the pay-per-view in March.
Well, I feel, I don't know about you, just the way they're going with this, it looks like it's going to be Red Velvet, I think, against Jade Cargill. They're building up the whole, like, the baddies are turning on Jade kind of thing.
Yeah, but
like,
that's
I could see
on the way. I mean, that's TV. That's not pay-per-view.
I just feel like with Mercedes, you pulled that off to like Double or Nothing, I think.
That's a long time. But yeah,
Well,
maybe.
not that long, really. May, like.
Yeah. But I think we'll see her on Wednesday night. I really do.
Ooh, Sky Blue with that knee looked garbage. Like, oof, that was bad.
Well, she's very young, right? I mean,
too,
how long has she been wrestling?
Yeah, but you're giving her prime time moments here. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you're not ready for prime time, it's on the booker too.
It's 11:30 at night, John. It's not prime time. It's 11:30 on a Friday night.
Ooh, that pump kick was beautiful.
Yeah,
that
it was a very nice
like,
kick from Jade.
Jade
kicked the hell out of her. Sky Blue's not getting up.
That could have been the finish right there, to be honest.
That was a hell of a
kick.
kick.
To be honest, the pump kick should be the finish. We're seeing it again. Boom. So Oof. Good. The pump kick's better than her finish. Like the face buster she does. Like, the pump kick's so much better.
Yeah, Jade's kick is awesome. Jade is fantastic.
Oh, Layla Gray there. Oh, slap.
It was weird the way Saraya set up Toni Storm being her tag partner. She had Sheeta and Storm next to her, and she was saying nice things about Storm and Sheeta. And then she's like, well, you know, I'm so impressed. This woman's clearly the best wrestler in the world. Toni Storm, be my tag team partner. And then Sheeta's kind of like, huh? And Storm's like, yeah, sure, I'll be your partner. So maybe they're teasing something there with Sheeta and Saraya going forward. That was something.
Well, to me, I don't know how you or anyone else sees it, where it's like, how is Saraya not the heel like that? Like, to me, she comes off as a total jerk by doing that. Like, kind of completely disrespecting Sheeta like that. Like, you're absolutely nothing, whatever. Turn your back, whatever. You're the best wrestler. Like, you had her right next to her like that. You don't say, like, sorry, whatever, or anything. Like, it just made it seem like Saraya doesn't give a crap, and, like, Sheeta, you're nothing. Like, to me, Sheeta's the babyface, and, like, Saraya's kind of a bit of a jerk, but I don't think they'll go in that direction for whatever reason, because Saraya's more popular.
Yeah, it was an odd choice to make Saraya just kind of ignore Sheeta like that. And you can understand Sheeta being offended, right? So if Sheeta attacks Saraya, it's not like, oh, why did Sheeta do that? It's like, oh, yeah, I can see why Sheeta did that. Holy shit. Did you see the finish of this match?
What, the whole facebuster thing? Like,
yeah, like Jade had her. She had her in like powerbomb position, and then she like
Yeah.
flipped her to the other side, picked her up in the air, boom, dropped her down. Like the power.
The power, but Sky Blue, is she even 100 pounds? Like,
Still, I mean, Jade's tossing her around like she weighs nothing at all.
I mean, that is impressive because I was late stages in the match and like she doesn't even look tired. So that's the most impressive thing, that Jade's not even really sweating. So that's really impressive because the lights and everything, it's not easy.
She's an incredible athlete. Amazing. That was a crazy finish. They keep showing replays of it because they're like, God damn, look at this. Boom. That was an impressive move there from Jade Cargill.
Jade's impressive, but she needs, better, like, again, no offense to Sky Blue, but she's not top tier talent, Jade needs to wrestle like bigger stars. 48-0 or 49-0, like, it doesn't mean as much if you're just facing the bottom tier.
Yeah. She needs a Sasha Banks. She needs a big star to feud with. She's had nobody.
Well, that's actually going like from like the absolute bottom to like the absolute top of like anything in wrestling, really, when you think about it. That's going beyond the top of the main event scene for the women in AEW, to be honest. Like, Mercedes is like the most popular one of all of them. Probably even more so than Saraya, just because Saraya's been gone for so long.
Well, who else would you send after Jade? Who else is credible enough that could pose a threat and also, a big enough star to enhance Jade? A babyface.
I always said they should have done. Well, babyface is the problem, because I always feel they should have done the match with Britt Baker.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's the match where people would have been like, I don't know if she's gonna win that one. They don't have enough people to do that. Like, no one else can really do that against Jade, where it's like, I don't know if Jade would win that match. They haven't built enough, top stars in the women's division. That's the problem.
they had her against Saraya or her against Sasha Banks. Right off the bat,
Yeah,
it's
that would
like,
throw it off.
You'd wonder, right? Jade could lose those matches. So
Right. And she might one day.
Jade was busy this week. She wrestled on Rampage here. She just wrestled a tag match with Red Velvet against Sky Blue and Kira Hogan on Dynamite. Red refused to tag in. They're doing something with Red Velvet, but I mean, that's a side note type of thing. Keeping Jade Cargill very busy. 2 matches on TV in the same week. Not bad. Not bad. Was Jamie Hayter wrestling this week on Dynamite?
I believe it was just a promo.
Just
if
a
I'm not
promo.
mistaken.
Just a promo. A lot of Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Well, that was a good match. That was a really good match. It may have been the match, I think, of the night for Dynamite.
Why did they wrestle again tonight? They wrestled on Dynamite this week.
Because of that controversial finish. Because originally Jarrett and Lethal won the tag team titles.
Yeah, but they cheated to win, and then the other ref came in and was like, no, they cheated to win, restart the match, right? And then the Acclaimed won.
Right.
It was a very good match on Dynamite. It was very good. They did it twice in 1 week, though. But the second one looked good from what I saw. The end of it was fun.
Right.
The Acclaimed right now are having good matches with everybody. They had a really good match with FTR. They had those good matches with Swerve and Lee. They're having good matches with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Like, anybody the Acclaimed is in the ring with right now, it's doing well.
Yeah,
they're on fire.
I agree. I don't know if they have another top like heel team that could possibly beat them at this point. They have some teams, but really a team that's hotter than the Acclaimed or like a new up and coming team you really want to push, I don't see it right now. Like, I mean, I don't see the Acclaim losing the titles like anytime soon. I don't see really anyone that can really take them down. Like, I don't know what's going on with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. Seems like something's going on there. Maybe they'll challenge them one day, but I don't see them taking it.
Mm-mm. It's gonna have to be like FTR or the Bucks or Pentagon and Phoenix. One of those teams. They come back around. They want another
Maybe.
shot, and then they take it from them.
But I could see the Acclaim beating them too, as well. I mean,
Yeah.
the Acclaim are at that level now where they can beat the top teams.
Yeah. I mean, you could keep the belts on the Acclaim for a long time, especially now that you have trios belts.
Well, we wonder a team, Jericho and Sammy Guevara. That would make a lot of sense.
I don't think they're going to win the tag belts. Are they wrestling for the belts?
No, but I mean, if they just threw them into that tag team feud, I could see it happen.
Brian's going to wrestle Takeshita on the next Dynamite. And, of course, the Elite versus Death Triangle Match 7, Escalera de la Muerte, coming up this Wednesday on Dynamite, which should be a hell of a match. Who do you have winning?
Kings of the Black Throne. The best of 7?
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with the Elite, I guess.
Yeah. In Los Angeles, it makes sense. Who are the Kings of the Black Throne?
I have no idea. Like, is that the sub team for the House of Black?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly.
It looked like Murphy and Brody, right? Brody King and Buddy Murphy. No, wait, that's Aleister Black and Brody King against Eddie Kingston and Ortiz next week on Rampage. Kings of the Black Throne. What? Aleister Black and Brody King are the Kings of the Black Throne.
We got a street fight next week.
Anna Jay and Tay Mello against Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale in a street fight on Rampage next week. My God. Okay. Who knows? Could be crazy.
And finally, it's main event time.
Yes, finally. What do you think of the Hangman John Moxley promo this week on Dynamite?
I thought it was all right. Some parts were kind of weird. Like, did you see something about like dick in his dirt or something? Like, there was a weird line Hangman said, and it was lines about how he's gonna put like 2 pistols, or 2 bullets in his head or something next Wednesday. It's like, it's kind of weird. He doesn't really talk about being a cowboy that much, and then he just throws in these weird lines here and there. I like
buckshot.
The intensity.
It's a buckshot lariat. Buckshot. It's like a shotgun thing, isn't it?
I think you're right. I think that, but he's gonna hit them 2 lariats. Like, does he need 2 lariats?
No, but isn't a shotgun like it's got 2 bullets? I know this from video games. You know, when you do the shotgun as the 2 bullets. You know, I think that's what he meant. I think buckshot.
Not the actual
buckshot
lariat.
Has something to do with shotguns. I'm not a gun guy. I don't know anything about these things, right? But I think buckshot lariat has something to do to a shotgun, and then there's some kind of, you know what I mean? So he's referencing 2 bullets as like a buckshot lariat he's going to hit Moxley with. I think that was what he was saying. He wasn't saying he was going to shoot him in the head.
Well, it's just off-putting the way some lines were said there, and just like the intensity was good. It just, the verbiage was kind of odd, I felt. Even with Moxley too, it was just like, it felt like he wanted to kill him, but I can't kill him because then the match doesn't happen. It's like, it's very weird to have promos like that.
And there's no match this week between the 2 of them?
It's next Wednesday.
So not Dynamite in Los Angeles, Dynamite the following weekend? The following Wednesday?
No, like this Wednesday coming up. Like, sorry. Like, yeah.
Oh, they are doing it this Wednesday. So Hangman is cleared and it's all good?
Supposedly, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Hangman and Moxley coming up on Wednesday. So they got a big Dynamite for LA, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, it's their debut in LA, right? So, big card.
Hangman and Moxley, Elite versus Death Triangle in the ladder match, best of 7 for the belts. Jungle Boy and Hook against Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita. And Saraya and Toni Storm against Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida, with a possible appearance from Sasha Banks. Possibly. You never know.
Possibly MJF. Like, to me, that was the moment. I don't know about you. That was the best part of Dynamite this week, was the MJF Bryan Danielson promo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good verbiage back and forth.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. MJF did a pretty good promo there about Bryan Danielson, saying how he's not the best. And
he looks like a goat.
Just because he looks like a goat doesn't make him the greatest of all time. And who died and made Bryan the king of wrestling. MJF says fans and journalists call Bryan the best, but real guys that know the business like Disco Inferno and Eric Bischoff and Jim Cornette all say MJF is the best in the world. Which was funny. Always dropping Jim Cornette will get you heat with an AEW crowd. And then Bryan wants to fight MJF. And then MJF telling him if he wants a title shot, he has to become number 1 contender. And he has to do that by competing every week on Dynamite and winning until February the 8th. And if he can do that, he'll give him a match for the belt on March the 5th at Revolution. Which is just odd. So Bryan's got to win matches for the next 3 weeks on Dynamite, and then that's enough? He becomes number 1 contender? It was just an odd... Like, yeah, they did well and everything, but just to get that point across... You must win all your matches for the next few weeks, and then if you do that, you'll become number 1 contender, and then I will give you a title shot. You have until February the 8th. If you win until then, you get a match on March 5th. It was like, what? What is all this stuff? You know? It was a little much.
Well, we've seen this before. We've seen this before from MJF, where he puts these obstacles in the way.
But he didn't say, like, opponents of my choosing. He's just like, you have to wrestle and you have to win your matches. Against anybody, really. Whatever.
Well, that's pretty much what it's going to be. But he also gave him the match that he wanted, too.
Yeah, Bryan says, okay, I'll do that, but if I do that, I get to pick the stipulation, and he says it's going to be a 1-hour Iron Man match. I mean, all of these matches that Bryan is going to have, I mean, they're fun and all, but we know now that it's going to be Bryan Danielson versus MJF in a 1-hour Iron Man match for the AEW title at Revolution. Just because it's not official, I mean, come on, right? They're not going to say it unless they're going to do it. Which is interesting.
Right.
Real interesting. Bryan saying he's going to expose MJF not having the cardio or the footwork and just not being good enough to hang with Bryan Danielson for 60 minutes, which is not easy. But I think MJF is going to be up to the challenge. I think the match is going to be fantastic.
Well, another thing to think about, 60 minutes when it's already 11:30 at night. That's not going to be too easy, I think, as well.
For the viewers. Yeah, please.
Well,
to keep the fans with you, too.
I mean, if you're a true Bryan Danielson fan, I mean, it shouldn't be a problem.
What are you trying to say?
Say,
that true Bryan Danielson fans don't get sleepy sometimes?
Not during his matches, right?
I mean, if it's an hour long, sometimes you get sleepy. You can't help it. Whatever you're watching. You could be watching the most enthralling thing in the world. If you're sleepy, baby. So that match probably going to happen there between Bryan and MJF. The promo was good this week. Bryan did wrestle a match, too, beating Tony Nese in a pretty quick one. Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho. Jericho keeps losing. Starks pinned him after a spear, despite interference from the Jericho Appreciation Society. They attacked Starks after the match, though. Action Andretti with a chair made the save. But then Anna Jay low-blowed Andretti, which allowed the Jericho Society to beat both guys down. And then Hager powerbomb.
Correction.
Huh?
I think it was Ty that did the low blow. I believe
sorry.
Anna did the distraction.
Whatever. And then Hager powerbomb Starks off the apron through a table. Was that Hager or was that Daniel Garcia, John? You want to correct me here?
Well, Hager had the hat, right?
Of course. Well, I don't know. So was it Garcia?
The hat fell down. The hat
Garcia
fell
used
down,
to have
but
the
it was
hat.
Hager.
Okay. Hell of a powerbomb.
I was worried there. I thought, because it kind of took a long time to do the powerbomb. Like, is he going to drop him okay? And it's like, no, he dropped him okay. I was worried he was going to drop him on his head, but it seemed like it was all right.
A little rough. How come Jericho keeps losing? Is that his deal now? He's losing matches? Lost to Andretti, losing to Starks?
Well, he can lose matches, and like he's still over though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's at the point where it's like you got to start winning matches now, where it's kind of ridiculous. You know, he can lose these matches here or there, like to guys up and coming. That's fine. You know, an upset there. Ricky Starks is like, you know, trying to push him towards the main event scene, so that's fine. You know Jericho's going to come back in the end. This is why I could see Jericho. You know, they give him something in the end, like being tag champion, or you know, the win probably at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, maybe. Jericho doesn't need it, though. He really doesn't need anything. Because like you said, he can lose a bunch of matches and then turn around and win a bunch of matches. And it's credible because it's Jericho. Because he's so over and he's so legendary. Like it doesn't matter how many matches he wins in a row. He could lose for a year and then come back and win for a year and you'd believe it. It would make sense. Went through a rut, turned it around, you know? I mean, Jericho's been around for so long that he's had so many big wins and big losses that it doesn't really matter at this point. He's over. He's over, like real over. Anything else happen on Dynamite this week, John? Starks over Jericho, Acclaimed over Jarrett and Lethal, Bryan over Nice, Swerve over AR Fox. That match was decent. Swerve.
Yeah, it was all right. It was too bad no Rick Ross, but
yeah,
match was fine.
How come Swerve has one guy called Parker Boudreaux, and then the other guy with the tattoos on his face, he still doesn't have a name? They haven't named a guy? Shouldn't they name him?
Yeah, they haven't come up with a name yet. It's just, I think that's simple.
It was like 2 weeks on TV.
Yeah, yet still no name.
What'd you call him? I'm gonna call him
Tats
Tattoo
Man?
Face. What?
Oh, I said Tats Man. Like
Tats Man. I was like Tats
he's
Man.
covered in tats. It does sound a little bit like it, but it sounds better. Tats Man.
I
And this
think they
main
should.
event here is not over yet.
I think they should call him Marker Foudreau.
That's not bad.
Because then you could have Parker Boudreaux and Marker Foudreau. Or
It's not great.
it's not great. How about
You're thinking too hard about something that's not important.
Barker Poudreau? So you have Parker Boudreaux and Barker Poudreau.
Yeah, it won't happen.
That'd be fun. That'd be nice and confusing for the announcers. It's Barker and Parker. How about Chip and Zip and Flip and Kip, Dip, Skip, Devon and Bubba.
As long as he doesn't have like numbers in his name, it'll be fine.
They're gonna come up with something bad. Like, don't they have a wrestler called Ryzen?
Yeah.
Like Tara Ryzen? They got a. Is it a guy? I just saw the name
I think it's
flash
the
on
guy.
the screen on AEW Dark or something. You know, they show the results for Dark on like a ticker
Right.
sometimes on Dynamite. I saw somebody called
Yeah.
Ryzen. I was like, Ryzen? What the
Yeah.
hell is that?
It's a guy.
They got some bad wrestling names in AEW. Big Bill.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they changed some guys' names, indie names. They just let them have their indie names.
Well, there's a reason why some names get changed. Because they're terrible.
There is a reason. There is a reason, yeah.
Like, she's not bad and all as a wrestler, but Willow Nightingale is a terrible wrestling name. It's awful. And it doesn't suit her at all. It doesn't make sense. It's just weird. I don't like it.
The ref clearly saw that. Oh, yeah, she's out. That's good.
The Bunny? Is she still the Bunny?
I guess.
Speaking
No
of
makeup
terrible
anymore,
wrestling
it looks
names, The Bunny. She doesn't even dress like a bunny anymore. The Bunny. First name The, last name Bunny. Orange
And
Cassidy.
And Danhausen's okay. Like
Danhausen, Orange Cassidy. Those are decent wrestling names. You know what's a bad wrestling name? Kip Sabian. That'd be like the last name I would choose as a wrestler, right? Kip Sabian? Kip? How'd you call yourself Kip voluntarily? That is a terrible name. Oh, Danhausen.
and the Blade.
Danhausen was trying to stop Butcher and the Blade from interfering, but here they come. Orange Cassidy has no more backup. Why are Butcher and Blade just grabbing chairs? Are they just going to hit Orange Cassidy with them? No, they're going to sit ringside.
Taking a seat.
Are they Kip's friends?
I guess.
Why are Butcher and the Blade here?
So they were the Bunny's friends, and the Bunny got kicked out, so.
Well, why was the Bunny there?
Because the Bunny's friends with Penelope.
Oh, Jesus.
You got to keep up to date with the connections here.
Do they all work for Andrade?
Andrade's gone now. It's only Roosh now.
Do they all work for Roosh, who's never on TV?
Well, he got suspended.
What? For real or pretend?
Well, because in ROH, they lost the match, so they got mad and attacked people. So
pretend.
I think it's a kayfabe. Yeah, pretend, but still.
So, kayfabe suspended, but Andrade got real suspended, and he was the leader of this group. Or part of this group. Because Kip Sabian is not in the group, but I thought Butcher and the Blade were in Andrade's group. That's now Roosh's group, who's pretend suspended, while Andrade is real suspended, or maybe fired, or quit, or something.
But that's not part of this group. It's just because the Bunny's friends with Penelope. That's why they're helping.
What the fuck?
Connections, friendships, alliances.
This show's stupid sometimes.
Orange.
Like, AEW.
Well, we're watching Orange Cassidy wrestling.
I know, it's the main event, and it's like, what is going on? What are these allegiances? But even the whole, like, you know, Roosh, the whole Matt Hardy group that morphed into Andrade's group that's now Roosh's group, and Roosh is, like, non-existent. That whole thing that's lasted a long time has been a colossal failure for everybody involved. No one has succeeded out of that group. Matt Hardy has only done worse since all that started. Where's he now? You know, like that whole group that Matt Hardy started, the Matt Hardy whatever, and then Andrade and Matt Hardy were together at one point, right? Remember that? They were like business partners. And then Andrade pushed Matt Hardy out. Then it was Andrade's gang. And then Andrade disappeared mysteriously after fighting with Sammy Guevara for real backstage. And now it's Roosh's gang, but Roosh is not even around. So Butcher and Blade just kind of Butcher and Blade again, I guess. Like, do you see how many twists and turns that took, John? That's not good.
Well, it looks like Kip might win the title here.
Come on.
No. They let him hit his finish at least.
The fact that you know what his finish is amazing. You must watch a lot of AEW Dark because you know Kip Sabian's not hitting his finish on real TV.
Why I saw he wrestled Jeremy Prophet, if you remember
Oh.
correctly, on Dark.
So you guessed, oh, that must be his finish. Yeah. This match is not what I need to see in pro wrestling. Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy in the main event. Come on now. Come on now, John.
I think this is Orange's comeback here. I don't know if that kick ever hit, but whatever.
What do you think of this Dax Harwood podcast that he's doing?
I told you about that last week, right?
Yeah. I listened to a bit of it. I listened to the one he did this week. I mean, he is talking about things that are happening in AEW currently.
Yep.
In a real way.
Well, real enough. I don't know if he's obviously not saying everything that he could possibly say, but he's saying enough, that's for sure. Oh, Orange Cassidy just pushed the ref. What the heck?
Must have been an accident. I don't know. I just feel like Dax is he's going pretty hard on this podcast. He's saying a lot more than anybody else in AEW is saying. There's Orange hitting a couple of his orange punches on Kip to get the 1-2-3 and retain the AEW All-Atlantic Championship.
Well, despite the referee push, there was no DQ. But I think you're right. Maybe the push was an accident or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I like Dax's podcast. Like, I've been entertained by it, but it's like, man, he's being very real here. It's a little surprising.
Which is good.
Yeah,
that's what makes podcasts good.
Yeah, but, man, he's got to catch some heat. I can't imagine that people are fully happy with everything he's saying. He's saying a lot.
I mean, you're not going to please everybody. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised AEW allowed it. Because, they had to, right?
Yeah, but Jericho has a podcast. I think Matt Hardy has a podcast. But they are not talking about...
It wasn't like that.
No, it's not like Dax's. Dax's podcast is different. I don't know. Makes me think that he doesn't really care what happens to him in AEW right now. The way he's talking makes me think like, well, FTR might not be long for AEW. I don't think they have much time left in their contract either. So,
but it's weird because he talks about how he wants Punk to come back, to make wrestling great again, all that. I would think he wants to be a part of that. No, if that happens,
I think that's him being on Punk's side, pushing that story forward. While the Elite side doesn't want Punk around. I think there are two camps, and Dax is in the Punk camp. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay, but...
And,
regardless of...
Dax doesn't seem to be best friends with the Bucks. The way he talks about them on the podcast, it's like, oh, they clearly don't love each other.
Oh, he didn't say anything bad about Hangman,
No, but he didn't. He's not friends with Hangman.
But he knows him decently because, they were in the same, independent scene together.
I don't know. Did you hear the same show I heard? He's like, Hangman, I wrestled him once. I don't really know him. I don't know.
He doesn't know him buddy kind of thing, but he knows of him, and he didn't think anything was wrong too with that promo with Punk at first.
Yeah, but he's clearly on Team Punk, is what I'm saying. And any message that he's putting out there is the message of, Punk. So if he's saying, oh, Punk should come back, I want Punk to come back, I think that's probably Punk wanting to come back and the Elite saying, we don't want him around here anymore. He attacked us. I don't know. That's what it seems like to me, but I'm not there. I don't know. I don't know those guys. And, I also hope that CM Punk will show back up in AEW because then we can have some big matches and It's better for the fans. Much better for the fans. John, your fans want to see you. When's your next match?
So it's finally announced January 22nd. It's me and Drew Onyx for a 5th time, one-on-one. It's going to happen. 1000 Boulevard d'Avenir, I believe, in Laval. Pretty much next to Place Belle in Laval, right near Montmorency Metro. And I believe bell time is 4 p.m. So you better get there early. I think doors open at 3 p.m. There's 3 other title matches, so I might actually be pretty early in the show. So make sure you get there early or you might miss it.
Wow. What's the date again?
January 22nd. It's a Sunday. Sunday afternoon.
All right, then. January 22nd, you can see Johnny North beat Drew Onyx in Laval. Should be a big-time match, Johnny North and Drew Onyx. I'll do my best to check it out, John. Maybe AJ will show up, too. I know a lot of people already getting their tickets, getting ready for that big show, January 22nd, for the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling. Johnny North versus Drew Onyx. My goodness. I want to give a shout-out to our members, Jason Pete in the chat. I saw Jason Pete. I saw Tony Mack tonight. I saw Angelo Contagonis. I saw Doug Hepburn. I saw Harold Schneider. Shout out to you guys. You guys are the lifeblood of the Ringside Report Network, keeping us going, keeping us strong, supporting the channel. Join.ringsidereport.net if you haven't already. You can support the channel also by buying some of our impressive merch. Look at this cool shirt. It says wrestling. I'm wearing it. You could buy it over at merch.ringsidereport.net. Patrick Deneau, shout out to Patrick as well. Saw Patrick in the chat. Merch.ringsidereport.net. Merch.ringsidereport.net. You can
hear noises.
Yeah, you can hear noises, which are always fun. But you could buy cool shirts like this. I designed this shirt myself. I mean, it's kind of a rip-off design, if you know what I mean. But it's pretty cool. It says wrestling. Kind of like the Supreme logo, but it's wrestling, you see? John knows what I'm talking about.
So, original rip-off.
Original rip-off from the Ringside Report Network, designed by Dave himself. That's me, and I'm wearing it. I love this shirt. I wear it all the time. It's super comfortable. It's awesome. Looks good. Fits right. It supports the Ringside Report Network, and it just says wrestling on it, you know? Everybody likes wrestling. You could be an amateur wrestler. You could be a pro wrestling fan. You could be a pro wrestler. You have a shirt that says wrestling. People say, hey, that's cool. Angelo Contagonis, member for 23 months. Thank you, Angelo. Almost hit your 2 straight years with us. We appreciate you. He says, thank you for another great show tonight. We appreciate you, Angelo. Thank you for supporting the channel. Glad you enjoyed the show. Glad we could entertain you here on a Friday night. I'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time with Freddie and AJ, and we will finally have a UFC show to preview. UFC's been off for a while. Last night we had talked about Jake Paul and Dana White and all sorts of stuff. But next week we'll be talking about fights. Nasruddin Imavov against Kelvin Gastelum. We'll be previewing that UFC fight card coming up next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ringside Report MMA every Thursday night at 8. And Wrestling Uncensored, this show right here, every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown. And, of course, we do the watch-alongs for every UFC pay-per-view. UFC 283 coming up January 21st. We'll be doing the watch-along right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you again Thursday night right here on the Ringside Report Network. Happy New Year, peoples.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.